what advice could you give them at this point, looking back in hindsight? How could they best prepare themselves? What could they do, they think, to present themselves in the best light?
Yeah, that's good, really good question. It's be absolutely crystal clear that's exactly what you want. And if it is, then you've got to throw yourself at it fully, and you've got to absolutely be completely committed to doing everything that's required to make the grade. And that means working hard at school. That means if you want to join the RAF and you're only interested in flying, and there's nothing wrong with that, I'd thoroughly recommend joining the Air Cadets. You don't have to, but that will give you a huge advantage in terms of understanding some of the basic ground school, getting the experience of flying, I did a gliding scholarship. Obviously, at 16, you get to go gliding and go solo, and all these things are still available. So I'd thoroughly recommend and advise doing that. If you're super keen, then you go to an air experience flight where you get to go and fly in the tutors. So I volunteered as an air experience flight pilot a lot later on. Spent 5 years teaching and flying air cadets. So that for me. That was a great way to give something back, because I knew what it was like being that 13-year-old kid or that 16-year-old kid who really wanted to be a pilot, and be able to offer that advice on a case-by-case basis. And you can tell, so most cadets don't necessarily have that burning desire. Some do, and I could totally resonate with that and totally understand where they were coming from. And I would deliberately spend extra time giving as much of my advice and support as I possibly could, even to the extent of I'd try and encourage them to, when the time was right in their life, to come back to the air experience flight and do extra flying, volunteer as a staff cadet, learn as much, get a book on private flying, learn as much as they can about that, apply for a flying scholarship, and try and develop and spend as much time in and around an aviation environment as possible. And then on top of that, you got to understand what is required to pass the board and what you need to do to prepare for that. And I guess there's probably a lot more information available online now, but at the time, a great source of that knowledge of what the board, the interview questions they were going to ask, and what you needed to do to prepare for it was available from some of the staff in Air Cadets and other mates of mine. So guys who I'm still really good mates with, the guys that was sort of in our clique in Air Cadets, most of whom actually went on to become in one service or the other